This is a very important episode. It's a market report, and it's something that I go through each and every month that gives you an overview of what to expect the divorced dad's market is like. And I don't mean the dating market. I'm talking about what's happening emotionally, financially, physically, the time of the year because there's seasons. So February isn't dramatic. Okay, you got to know that it's quiet. It's very quiet compared to what happened in December and January. It's quiet. February is where January's promises, they're either stabilized or they're silently abandoned. Let me say that again. February is where January's promises are either stabilized or they're silently abandoned. Again, I've been talking a lot about intelligent fears. The fears that you used to have, they don't sound the same. They're intelligent. And that's what happens many times when you begin to stop doing what you normally do. Goals that you set, things that you wanted to do. So February doesn't break men. It exposes what January didn't actually build. Many times guys got motivated, they got excited. And again, I always talk to guys and clients and our one-on-one guys, you rise to the level of your dreams or your vision, you fall to the level of your standards. Your standards are what keep you there no matter what. Motivation's like milk. There's an expiry date. There's only so much, right? There's finite energy. So this market report I'm going to go through with you, it's huge. It really helps to understand where you're at, why you're even feeling that way. And I know a lot of times most of the podcasts I talk about so you understand what's happening in your brain. But here's the thing, guys. Here's the gap that we're going to go into the very end. I'm going to give you something you can do for the next 14 days because I need you to understand that it's the small steps that lead to big results. It's before you walk 10,000 steps, you're walking 100 and then 1,000 and then you're moving and you're going. And this is those small steps to take. This isn't an opinion piece. These are things that are going to help you understand what's going on. And I believe it's going to get you to jump across that gap of taking serious action, more action than you've ever taken before in your life, to be able to transform your life and your children's life. Remember, everything that you have and you're doing, imagine the feelings, the pain, the frustration, the fears, the anxieties, the worries, all of those things, those are all getting passed to your children until you decide that you're going to fix it and change it. And I don't mean that you just, take another podcast in or another YouTube video, or maybe you have a therapy session. I mean, serious, resilient, consistent action where you have somebody that you're accountable to. And we'll talk more about that in school. Those of you, first and foremost, if this podcast has helped you some way, some form, please drop a sub, leave a review. Why? Because that helps another dad somewhere around. It gets the algorithm seeking dads to help. And that's just something small that you can do. So first of all, I want to say thank you for those of you who have done it. I think there's about 30% of you that listen that are not subs. I ask for subs, not for me. I ask for other dads. Look, if I'm going to reach 1 million dads, I'm going to need help. Not just reach them. I want to transform them. I don't care about reach. I care about transformation. I care about your life going from zero to hero. That's what I care about. And it's not even so much you that I care about. It's your children. And I know you care about your children because that's why you're still alive. And that's why I'm talking to you. And that's why you're listening. So hear the nudge, okay? Here's the first part, the market signal, okay? 80% of New Year's resolutions are abandoned by mid-February. That's where we're at. So this is the tension, the friction, the excitement is gone, the sales are out, the bills are starting to come in from Christmas or whatever it might be, right? Seasonal affective patterns peak in late winter, especially those of you that are in climates that are dark and cold. I grew up in the Midwest in Chicago, and I tell you what, from December to February, man, it is dark and it's dreary, right? It is cold. It doesn't feel very exciting. Now, you got to remember that if you're feeling that, so is everybody else in the country. And here is something that you can always ask yourself and always question what you're doing. What is nobody else doing in this moment? If you want to get ahead, if you want to do what others do, what you've never done before, you've got to do things you've never done before. When you ask that question, what is one thing that nobody else is doing right now in this season that I can do? And maybe it's putting a phone down, whatever it might be. But I believe just in asking that question, you will start to harvest. And I say harvest because it takes work. It's digging into the soil. It's digging into your heart. It's digging into your mind. And it's pulling up those things that need to get out. So this isn't weakness, what you're feeling. It's predictable psychological compression. It's literally just the world you're living in, and that's what you're feeling. So February doesn't create problems. It turns the volume up on the ones that you avoided. That is what many of you are facing. You've heard me in the past talk about closing deals. And every time you tell yourself you're going to do something and you don't do it, that's like not closing the deal. And the more deals that you don't close, the more trust you lose, which is why many of you dads listening and you're sitting out there and you're on the fence and you want to do it. There is not a dad that I talk to that doesn't want to get involved in this program, doesn't want to crush it. Not one. The issue that they have is they're unsure if it'll actually work for them. It'll actually work for you. That it will work. There's a belief factor that they have yet to jump across because of the failures that they've had recently, maybe with divorce, with children, with your work. And I've been there and I've sat in that place and I understand what you're saying. And it is not going to be, you will never feel comfortable making that move and believing in yourself again. You'll never feel that comfortable until you begin to get around people who have gone through it fully, accountable, systems, structure, vision, goals, all those metrics. And they say, bro, you are going to level up. That's a guarantee. You're going to be better than you were before. That's the guarantee. Now, as time goes on, will you get there in the amount of time that you want to get there? Some guys do. Some guys don't. But every guy is better than when they started. I guarantee that. They're all better because they have systems, because they have accountability. They know where they're going. They know what they want. They know what to do. Let's get into the resilience index, okay? It's male specific. It's for dads. Here's some other stuff you're up against, okay? Male loneliness often expresses itself as irritability, not sadness. Now, the loneliness factor is you start internalizing everything. Your cortisol rises when social connection drops, okay? So these are just some of the stats that are out for February. Google Trends, which I always like to check this one out. Google Trends, this is the spike in February. Why am I lonely? Should I text my ex? How to move on. These are the most searched trends spiked in February. So what does it mean? It means that silence is really freaking loud. It means comparison creeps in. And I can't tell you how many times in our school group that dads come in and they say, you know, I saw this on Facebook from my ex, or I saw this happening. Comparison is a thief of joy. And you have got to get focused on what you want, not in what somebody else is doing, because you actually don't know what they're doing. As you know, social media most of the time is the highlight reels of their life. It's the 1% of things that are actually happening. Emotional decisions, here's another translation for you dads. Emotional decisions, they feel reasonable. Oh, I deserve this. You know, I'm tired. It's a hard month. It's difficult. These are intelligent fears is what I'm talking about. So this is the month. Men don't panic. They justify where they're at. They tell themselves the story that best fits where they are, not the story of where they're going. Because once you hinge on the story of where you're going, then everything begins to filter through that lens rather than the lens of where I'm at, what's not happening. So again, in the brain, your dopamine drops when the novelty fades, right? So this is some habit research. When the novelty fades, you're not as excited. Motivation cannot be trusted in weeks 5 to 8, which is what happens in February. Again, you know that 63 days it takes to transform your cognitive rewiring, 63. So that's just one. And we're working on more and more of those. But that's why we identify enemies. That's why in the school group, I'm militant about your vision. I'm militant about what your enemies are. I'm militant about attacking, playing offense instead of playing defense, because February rewards structure without emotion. And if you need to feel good to stay disciplined, this is going to be a very tough month, February, for you. So that's what this report is saying. In the scriptures, in the book of James, it says, let perseverance have its perfect work, meaning the consistency that you do and you're consistent to do in the direction that you want to go, let it work. Let it work. Let the thing go. Let it, I'm reminded when you're fishing and you got a big fish on the line and you want to just pull and rip and pull the thing in. Look, I am not anywhere near a caliber of fisherman as probably most of you guys. You guys are probably incredible, and I'm not. But I do know that I have tried several times to pull in a big fish and I just pop my line or I lose the hook or I lose a lure or whatever. Let the thing run. Let it go. See where it goes. See where it wires itself out. And then you can start to pull it in. So your life is the same way. There's this pull and this draw, and you want to start running and you want to go. Sometimes you got to just take the small steps, take the little wins, let it run, let the course work itself. So February is a maturity month, is how you can look at this seasonally. Maturity month is you're in it. It's cold. You're doing the work. You're wondering where everything's coming. Why is it coming fast as I want it to come? It's a maturity month. It's a consistency month. This month will be the biggest month for you because of these opportunities. When I tell you that you're looking at 80% of people who have set goals have already quit, that is an opportunity for you. That's an opportunity for you to say, man, normally I would quit at this time. This is a moment that you can double down on. So I want to get into the financial side because taxes are coming up and there's enough ads on TV and we see to, it trips a lot of guys out. I know I've got some clients and some friends and, Q1 financial stress, it spikes during this month, right? There's things that are happening in the Federal Reserve. Men experience heightened financial shame during tax prep. Why? Because maybe they didn't do it right. Maybe they had other things that were going on, right? So this adds to what's going on in February. So February tempts you to do a few things: risky spending, rush deals, and avoidance. All three of those. But calm systems will beat emotional urgency every time. And this is the fork in the road. So this is the big hinge. And I have this document. Those of you in the school group, you've gotten an email to you about what this looks like on paper so you can see it. The February fork in the road looks like this. There's two men. They look identical in February. One distracts himself from discomfort. The other one builds structure anyway. One compounds momentum. Okay, that's the difference. Both feel the same pain. One earns the leverage. So you have to ask yourself, do I want to push through, stick to my systems, and do this thing? Or do I want to just keep doing what I've done before and maybe it'll be a little bit better? Or using hope as your strategy. Look, I think we all need hope, but that's not a strategy. We got to break that down into the steps you need to take to get you there. So here's a simple directive for February, okay? Simple directive. No reactive dating. Valentine's Day has come and gone. That can trigger a bunch of things. I've talked about that before. No emotional texting, no major life changes. I have a lot of guys that they start bouncing around in work. Well, I should do this, or I should do this, or this is give me these opportunities. Guys, you've got to get somebody accountable to that's going to shoot through your plans. We were on a call maybe last week or the week before, and there's a guy and he's telling me about how he has ADHD. And, the first thing I tell people with ADHD is that, it's actually a gift to have ADHD if you can see it as a gift, because everything has pros and cons. And so I said, well, tell me more. What does it actually sound like? What does the ADHD sound like for you? And he said, well, I've got all these thoughts and I need to do this, but I want to do this. He goes, these things will do this. And I said, well, that one thing that you want to do, what's the success rate of that in your business? He goes, oh, it's maybe like 5%. I said, well, what's the success rate over here in this thing? He goes, well, I have to do that. That's 100%. If I don't do that, my business is ruined. I said, well, what do you think you need to do? something that's 100% you need to do, or something that's 5% you need to do. And instantly, boom, the light went off. He's like, dude, I know exactly what to do. I say that to you guys because 99% of you have never had real accountability coaches on your side. And I'm not talking about a life coach that gives you a massage and pats you on the back and says, hey, dude, you're doing a great job. That's not what I do. What I do is look at what you're doing, shoot holes in it so that you can surpass anything you've ever done before and get accountable to the plan. So there's acceleration, there's growth, there's measurement, there's progress. And so that's the difference between guys that are doing it consistently and diligently and the guys that are, again, just winging it or adding another thing into their calendar. You don't need another thing in your calendar. You probably need less things in your calendar. But if you don't have somebody in there to fact check everything that you're doing, then what happens is you begin to tell yourself a story that aligns with this market report that I shared with you, and you become just another divorced dad that's just trudging along. That is not what that's not what the Ascent is. That's not what Divorced Dads of America is. This is about dads that want to transform their life and the next generation. And to do that, it's going to take focus, like we say, the FAST system, awareness, accountability, systems and strategy, and a clear picture of transformation. You say, man, that seems like a lot, Anthony. You have one life, brother. You got one. You got one shot with your kids, man. You have to take a step back and say, do I want to do this for real? Or do I want to wait till I'm too old, too tired, no energy, whatever excuse I have to make? Or you start it now. I'll give you 3 questions, and then I'm going to give you the challenge. And then that's the market report for this week that I believe that will, if you do what you need to do, you'll go to places you've never gone before. And again, those of you that are looking to say, hey, I'm looking to get more in line with this, man. Anthony, I need more help with this. 2 things, dude. First, I'd say listen to more of the podcast to see if I'm the guy for you. That's the first one. Second thing is jump in our school group and start looking at the systems and the structure that I've already built. If that's stuff that you like, great. Then you can take it to the next step and say, hey, Anthony, is there any opportunity to work directly with you? Maybe there is and maybe there's not. I don't know because I don't know the schedule. But I will say, see those things first. I'm not here to put pressure on you. I'm not here to put you in a direction. I'm here to say, do you want your life to change or do you want it to keep doing what you're doing? That's what you have to ask. So here's 3 questions. What discomfort am I currently calling waiting? Number 2, where am I confusing patience with avoidance? And number 3, what pattern am I reinforcing this month without realizing it? 3 questions. Break them down in your own time. They should be in the show notes. Get them out. Get them on some kind of digital notebook, whatever you do, and carve it up, man. And here's the challenge. 14 days. Call it the stability test. Same wake time. Same training block. Same prayer or reflection window. Same communication tone. No intensity, just maturity and repeatability. I want to see you guys being consistent. There's times when I'm with my clients and things are going well and everything is working. I don't add more things to the recipe. I say that recipe is crushing it right now. Let's keep it going until we need to adjust. The same for you. Get the consistent pattern. Same wake time, same training block, same prayer reflection window, same communication tone. Get on the calls on Monday nights with us. Get a rhythm. Do the worksheets every single day. Eliminate the things every single day, not casually, consistently. And so again, I mentioned before how you can get on board with us. If you're not following Divorced Dads of America on Instagram, follow us every day. I'm putting in frameworks and systems and real thoughts and real things from real dads, real conversations I'm having. Why? So that you can upskill, up-level your life, crush it in your work, your job, your life, and as a dad, what you got to do, what you need to do. So that's what I got for you today in the market report. I love you guys. You have questions, comments. If you haven't dropped a comment in Spotify or if you have a review or a sub, drop it in there, man. Do something you've never done. to get what you've never gotten before. Love you guys. I'll see you in the next one. God bless you.